Greetings! Today I have a good plan. I mean, there's only a few minutes of rain free today, so I'm going to try and squeeze in a project. What I want to do is I want to take this bar at 1080 and I want to make a draw knife out of it. So what I'm just going to do, it's going to be real simple. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to take an inch from each end and just draw it out as far as I can. And then I'm going to thin this down a little bit, put a bevel on it, whatever, and try to make a draw knife. I won't get to hardening it today, but all I want to do is get it started. Alright, let's get to it. To my sledge, this steel's moving pretty hard. Starting to twist, so I'm going to hit right here. There we go. Twist it too much. Straighten her out. There we go. We got that almost drawn out. I'm going to finish drawing that out. And then we're going to cut away and I'll do the other side. You don't need to see both sides, do you? So I'm going to do one side, then I'll do the other, and should be good. Well, I've been asked why tie-dye shirts a lot of the time. And to be honest with you, it's because it hides the stains better. I don't, the nature of who I am means I don't get to have nice shirts. I ruin almost everything. So I figure if I have tie-dye shirts, let the kids tie-dye. It's great fun. Let them put any design they want on my shirt, and that way you don't see a lot of the charcoal or steel dust or whatever, or the stains on the shirts, and they last a lot longer that way. All right. Anyway, let's get back to it. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. See, I'm going to want this handle to be just a little bit thinner because I'm going to thin down the body of this as well. So we're going to thin this down, draw it out, hopefully a few more inches. There we go. Bring this out just a little bit. There we go. That's about how I want it. There we go. See how it's about 1/16 of an inch thinner right at that tang there? That's about all I want. And I'm going to straighten it out. And we're just going to go with it. There we go. Alright. Alright, time for a smaller hammer. Well, that was a bust, but anyway, I thought I was recording and I wasn't. What I did was I just straightened this out. Well, there we go, straighten it out. We put a little bit of a taper down to it. The idea is to have it so it gets thicker as it gets up to the main blade. That way when I put the handle on it, the handle should stay nice and firm. Alright, this is way too cold to be even tapping it, so I better stop. But anyway, that's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to drag out the other side just the same way. Really rather boring. And I'll bring you back once I have the other side matching this side. Alright, good deal. Well, I'd gone and done it now. Forgot to turn the microphone back on after I turned off the camera, so no sound has been recorded, so I have no idea what I'm trying to tell you. And that's probably not important because I don't remember. But that's the finished forging for the tangs for the two handles. I will now I'm gonna hammer down that one side. Both sides it's gonna be half hammer blows. Is what I'm trying to say, I bet. So yep. That way I can have a nice ridge line right down through the center of the draw knife. And then after that I can hammer down the bevel to give it a nice sharp edge. Yep, man, I can't believe I forgot to turn on the microphone. But anyway, so there we go. Enough of that. Let's get this going. All right, now that that's good and hot, what we're gonna do is I'm hammering down on the spine of the draw knife itself, and as I hammer it down, it's gonna get smaller, and as it gets smaller, it gets wider, so it causes the other end to curve inwards. So you're kind of making a nice gradual curve. If I kept going around and around and making it smaller and smaller, eventually it might make a circle. So there we go. Just keep it nice and hot. Hammer it down there. You can already start to see where the center line will be, where that's because that's really going to be where I take my bevel to. Now here we go, nice and hot. I'm just going to keep going down the spine of that draw knife, trying to match the thickness of the draw knife to the thickness of the tang that I started. Well, I think I mentioned earlier in the video that I wanted the tangs to be a little bit thinner, and this is the reason why. I just want to, because I want to kind of draw out how wide that draw knife is. Ideally, I want it to end up around 6 inches. And I realize a 6-inch draw knife is small, but I have reasons for that. I'll explain that later at some point. I gotta say, it's kind of weird that the video's playing without any sound. It's kind of like bang, 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 bang. Now it sounds like now it's like a hammer's going bang, 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 bang. Alright, that's annoying even to me. But anyway, so there we go. I'm getting the thickness right down. You can see it's starting to curve. It's a little bit more of a sharp curve. You can really notice it. And next, that's where I took out the wooden mallet because I don't want to damage the back end. Like the underside of the knife, I don't want it to have hammer marks in it because I want that to be nice and flat and smooth for when I go over the piece I'm working on. Well, like the dope I am, I forgot to turn on the microphone, so everything I just said is going to be lost. So I am going to have to tell you what I said when I do the editing. Alright. Let's see here. That looks like it could be nice and even. Let's get you. There. Good enough for me. Now, what I'm going to do is, now that I have this thinned down to where I want it, I'm going to work on this bevel here. When I bevel, you see how this is curving inwards? We're going to bevel it, and that bevel should straighten everything right back out. For this bevel, it's 45-degree angles for the hammer strikes, and hopefully I can be good enough that I have a nice line. Oops. Alright. See, I want to just hit that. If you can see it on this camera, I don't know. I want to hit the line where I thinned out the spine. I want to hit that line with the bevel, and that should straighten us right out. I'm using the line that I started as a guide. I'm just going to take this. There we go. See, we're starting to get a nice line through here, and probably in the next 2 heats it'll be very much better defined. This should do the trick. There we go. That's getting pretty good and defined line, and I'm just probably going to do one more heat. I'm just going to try and clean up this line. Most of it is going to be cleaned up after I do the grinding, because I'm going to grind that and clean that bevel up really nice, and that's all I'm going to grind on this, and then we'll harden it. It should be a treat. There we go. And now I'm using a smaller hammer. just trying to get this nice and cleaned up. Alright, perfect. Now you see it's all crock-eyed. What we're going to do is we're going to take a wooden mallet and we're going to just straighten everything up and it'll be beautiful. Alright, so that blade is almost straight. What we're going to need to do is thin this out. And the reason why I use a wooden mallet is the wood, even when the steel is as hard as it is, or as hot as it is, I mean, the wood does not leave hammer marks. So I can go ahead and hit the back of it without worrying too much. Come on, Jeff. There we are. And I'm going to leave these handles straight out like so, because when I go to grind, it's going to be so much easier if they're not in the way. There we go. We're going to need a little bit more heat. We want to bring this down. There we go. Alright, that's no big deal. Alright, so what we're going to do, now that we have that all nice and cleaned up, let's see if it's straight. Alright, whacked it out straight, so I'm going to heat it up one more time. We're going to straighten it, and that'll be the start of our thermal cycle. It'll straighten out. We'll straighten it, and then we'll just leave it set until it's cool, so you can see at least one thermal cycle. So, lay that flat. There we go, that's nice and straight. So, all we're going to do now, we're just going to let this cool a big chunk. And then we're going to heat her up again. And we do that 3 times. You don't need to see all 3 times, I don't think. And if you want to, there's something wrong with you. But I'm just going to do that. And then once everything's all cool, I'll probably be back tomorrow to grind it. So, here we go. This is all part 1 is. How cool is that? Alright, so here we go. The end of part 1. See, what I did was, let's see if I can get this right in there. There we go. Hard for me to figure out how to do the angles with this. But I made that center line right down there. And that's where I'm just going to grind to get the bevel nice and straight and make everything nice and even. It's this blade's a little curved at the edges, so what I'm going to end up doing with that is I'm just going to grind everything nice and flat and try to make it as square as possible. That way when I grind the bevel, it'll look better. Hopefully it'll work great. So tomorrow, when this is all nice and cool to the touch, right now it's still about, I don't know, 600 degrees maybe, so it's cool enough to be dark in color, but it's not cool enough to handle. So I'll come back tomorrow, so we'll film that with a little bit of grinding, and hopefully I'll get these handles bent in their correct orientation for me, what I want, and we'll harden it, and hopefully we'll have a working draw knife. That'll be kind of neat. I guess I gotta do handles too. We'll figure the handles out. Alright, you guys take it easy. I hope you go out and enjoy the day. Even if it's raining out, you can still do something, right? You guys take it easy.